So this morning, I was checking my channel analytics, realized that I created my channel in September of 2012, which is almost 10 years ago. And I remember that I made my channel pretty much right when I started skating. So that means I've been skating for about 10 years now, which is kind of ridiculous to think about, because I feel like if you skating for 10 years, you should be exceptionally good. Yeah, so it has been a while. But today I'm probably gonna be talking about how skateboarding has changed in those 10 years. Keep in mind, I'm 22. So when I started skating, I was 12. And I think your perceptions of the world when you're 12 are also just pretty different. The way that a 12-year-old skates today is not gonna be how I perceive skateboarding today. But a lot has changed, I feel like. They got this thing on Instagram. Watch this real quick. This is at me at Woodward in 2013. Just eating shit. I thought that was funny. That's the first video in my entire phone. So when I was 12, I remember I would go to skate parks very infrequently because I didn't live near any. I would have to get my mom or a friend to drive me. To put in perspective how little people skate where I'm from, my high school had 2 skaters in the whole high school and about 4,000 students. So nobody was really skating where I was from. It's always been like that. So when I was 12, what I would do is, living in suburban Virginia, you don't really get ledges and shit like that. You just get stairs. So I would find every stair set around my area and just ollie down it. Which is why that clip for me at Woodward is an 8-stair ollie, because it's the most perfect 8-stair I've ever seen. Up until that moment, the biggest thing I ollied was a 4-stair. But that first year, 2013, when I went to Woodward, I pretty much just skated around all of Woodward, ollieing everything. And it's actually hilarious. I couldn't do any tricks. I could barely 50-50 a ledge, but I could ollie I think up to a 9-stair. So yeah, when I was young, I really liked gap skating. Back in 2012, a list of my favorite pros at the time was obviously P-Rod, Corey Kennedy, Mike Moe, and the entire girl team was absolutely killing it in this era. Girl was probably the most relevant brand at the time. Eric Costin was still skating decently well. Yeah, everyone's part in Pretty Sweet was ridiculous. I remember downloading Pretty Sweet on the iTunes store and watching it so many times. I think one of the biggest differences between how skating has changed since 2012 and today is the onset of social media becoming massive. I remember making my Instagram account in 2012 and it was just nonsense. Everyone's Insta was basically a private fake Insta by today's standards. You just post nonsense. Videos weren't a thing. I remember following Mike Moe was probably the first skater that I followed at this time, and he was just posting random pictures and stuff, especially of his glassy sun hater fake spokesperson Chuck the Sailor. It was real funny. Instagram was not taken serious at all, and pro skaters had this very elusive aura around them. And the only way that you really connected with the amateur world and the pro world was by watching these real video parts Pretty Sweet. And I think it was around that era when paying for full part was really starting to go down. And nowadays it's rare that people pay for parts. They'll just come out on YouTube or some website and you just watch it for free. The fits have changed pretty dramatically. Back then they were real skinny pants. Chinos were probably the most popular style of pants. It's the one I was always wearing. And chinos are real light and pretty skinny. They look they make for average fits. Average little 2012 fits. I think by a purely subjective and objective standpoint, the fits today just work better. Bigger pants are a whole lot easier to skate in. I think today's fits look better, but I think the fits back then had sort of a nostalgic flair to them, and they're not terrible, but I just think bigger pants just are easily better pants to skate in. Being my upbringing in suburban Virginia, I had no real street knowledge of anything to do with core skating until probably around 2016. So my fits specifically were pretty awful. I was literally I was like Jeff de Cesarang it, just skating how I like thought you should. Yeah, I didn't care about like anything. Another thing I think social media has really done to skateboarding in the past 10 years is very much changed the romanticized aspect of skating. So back then, the things that I like really glamorized in skating was just like the actual pros. Everyone has like this sort of ego where they try to glamorize skateboarding in their own way, and it's really changed my perception on like what it really is, and in some ways opened my eyes to like how people are very like selfish even outside of skating. This probably doesn't even have to do with skating anymore, but selfish in just like going towards their own, trying to make themselves look as cool as possible. And that part of social media has changed skating, where I think the tricks are definitely, we are in a gross trick era, because doing something like a backside wheelie grind is gonna get you more hits on social media just because people are gonna be more intrigued by it. So I think that because all these regular tricks are played out, people are starting to do some nonsense, and whether or not they're trying to stand out or not, these tricks are gonna get boosted by like algorithms, and all this nonsense social media stuff has sort of like, it changed the world, but it did change skateboarding a little bit. It's kind of hard for me to articulate like off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure some of you guys will understand what I'm saying here. I think it's also brought upon more of like an unacceptance to different parts of skating. Unless you very much fit in like certain subcategories, you are a little bit ostracized by the community, because back in 2012 when you went to a skate park, all people really knew about you was what they saw of you at the skate park. They didn't see everything you post on social media. You're judged more like as a skater than you are based off your entire life, which social media, now a kid can pull up to the skate park and you're like, oh, I've been following him on Instagram, or oh, I saw that kid on TikTok, he posts some nonsense, I don't mess with him. Which I have seen happen. But yeah, people's lives are no longer as private, which sort of changes the way like the atmosphere at a skate park. I just went very much on a weird tangent I was not expecting for this video, but if I put that in, I'm sure it'll make some sort of sense. Another thing that has changed is definitely the brands that people are skating. Back then, it was very, very heavily like core skateboarding brands, like especially in shoes specifically. Actually, people back then used to very much, like Lakai was probably the most popular shoe brand. These days it's like everyone is skating, me included, is skating Nikes, Adidas, Vans, and no one is like batting an eye because it's normal now. I might have to do some self-reflection on this, because I skate Vans a lot, and Vans, I think, out of all the corporations, does it pretty well, like actually like giving back to skateboarding inside. Brands such as Nike, they've definitely gotten better, but it's just like, it's pretty much corporate ran. I'm not even gonna talk about Cariuma, but yeah, like it's the brands have definitely changed that people wear. Obviously that's gonna just happen with time, but I was a little bit surprised, maybe not even surprised, to see that just like all the corporations are now like the most dominant shoe brands. Yeah, hopefully that came out as a good video. I'm kind of liking talking about stuff like this. I did something similar to this video last week. This is also happening because I am extremely busy with midterms, so these sort of talking videos are easy for me to do. And yeah, I'll have another video next week, and I'll see you guys then. Peace out, mates.